Okay.
Well, today is the topic of mental illness and firearms. Just the other day, I have a friend that's really acting mentally ill, and he has firearms. I don't want this. Seems like we'll just let anybody have a firearm. And how are you going to stop people that are even mentally ill? I realize now we can't stop that. They'll just lie and get somebody else to do it for them. I'm really saddened by that today. I'm trying to be a really good person, and that's what matters to me. I don't feel like we can change the world or make people feel any better from what they are from here to there. Mental illness is everywhere, but it gets bad when people say that they got schizophrenia or they're a fucking Fruit Loop and, they're walking around with guns. Or they'll say, well, how did this person get this? Well, and that's what a good question. And usually what happens is a straw sale, or and what that means is the person goes in and he's able to buy a firearm. The guy will pay him a few dollars and say, well, here, buy me this firearm. They'll run his background check because it's good, and the other guy, the only thing I can figure out. Or it's private sales. People are shooting people. And I don't want to lose my rights or give up everybody else's life because people are stupid. How do we stop that? How? Everybody says, well, please subscribe to my channel, please say this, or please say that. I don't want to say this and that. I want to say what the truth is. The truth is that we need to lock a lot of these people up that are super mental and really come down hard on the people that do anything wrong. Everybody says, well, let's change the laws. Well, you're damn right, so let's change the laws if it's mental illness. The doctor should be able to say, hey, listen, if you're mentally ill, then we know you're not responsible enough to be responsible with a firearm. You shouldn't have one. For responsible gun ownership. What does a firearm really do anyway? Does anybody even, when I talk to people, do they even know what a firearm, how it works and what it does and what it's supposed to do? And why we own them? Sad day in this country when I can see so many mentally ill people walking around saying they're going to hurt people or shoot people or harm people, and everybody knows who these people are. They just seem like, oh well. And I think everybody's afraid to stand up. I don't think we should have to feel afraid to say, hey, that's enough. But should we have to give up our country and our freedoms and the things that we love because of other people? No. But should they pass, it's like this. When you go to get a driver's license, you got to get a driver's license before you drive a car. A car is just as deadly as a gun or anything else. And you have to have people that want to be responsible so they can't. And we keep a lot of people from driving on the road if they're not going to be responsible behind the wheel because they can kill somebody. Same thing in this country, but let's say not gun registration. Say you can own any firearm you want, but you have to go through these firearm courses, and you have to go through a psych eval, and you have to be mentally stable. But here comes the other problem, felons. People that are felons should be a felon forever. Not after 5, 10, or 15 years after you've done the crime. Because if you want to do a felony, how many more are you going to do without somebody knowing about it? Just because you don't get caught or don't get in trouble, what are you going to keep doing the same thing? How in the hell do we stop this? And my only ideas are real simple. We either start holding people 100% accountable, and I mean by 100% is like just like they're held accountable. Stopped dead in their tracks and said, "You're not doing this no more." But I love my firearms, and I love my country. And I love to hunt, and I love to fish. Would I hurt somebody? Only in self-defense. But when I see people that just want to act mentally ill and will shoot anybody or threaten to hurt anybody, my heart kind of sinks into my chest and says, man, what's wrong? Everybody at all these schools says, oh, it was mental illness. Well, if they knew that the people were mentally ill, why didn't somebody stop it? You know, people don't have signs of mental illness, but the people around them know that they're mentally ill. They don't do shit. They do nothing. And I don't know what to do about that. And they should have a reporting line. They should have a tip line. They should have the Sheriff's Department investigating red flag laws, which we really kind of need is a different kind of red flag law where if we hear that you want to do a violence or hurt a bunch of people, then we need to have you go checked out. Make sure it's just not like, somebody messing around. But how many times do they actually stop and solve these before it ever gets that bad? Before someone dies? ATF. Well, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. If people know they shouldn't have a firearm, what are they doing going into the gun stores? What are they doing? I mean, people that go in these gun stores, you can just go in there and say, I want to buy this, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. And they walk out with it. And what are they going to do? Are they going to go do crimes? 98% of Americans may not, but the other 5 or 10% of them, maybe 30% of them, who knows what the percentage is, will do crimes. It's like the people that come over from Mexico. You think I want them all the way up in my part of the country up here in Montana or any part of this country? What about the election coming up? Has anybody ever thought about every time there's a big election, they just let the illegals in and they say, oh, it's not illegal voting, something's not right. What about the real issues in this country that plague us every day? My heart's kind of broken because I have friends that are just mentally ill and I can't help them. Makes me sad. I think everybody suffers with something in life, but it's how we deal with it. Every time my heart goes out to every one of the family members that lose somebody from violence. Because it didn't have to happen to begin with, but everybody wants to say, well, I'm this and I'm that, and they want to play these games. And it's stupid. It's just plumb stupid. It's like people that raise their children now. Children act mentally ill, they say, well, just medicate the kid. No, that's not what the kid needs. The kid needs to be worked hard and taught to do what's right. Oh, you can't. Yeah, you should be damn well correct the kids. Because the children are our future. And then that future after that. And a lot of them say, well, oh, I get that. And when you know what's wrong with this next generation is that we spoil the children and they grow up to be spoiled little kids. Bullies and mean to everybody. No common sense. I may not be the best looking person in the world. I may not be the smartest person in the world. But all we need is common sense. You know why I say we got to do enough in Congress is because we got Joe Biden up there saying, I'll do for the American people. Oh, let's have the great inflation. Should have issued us another stimulus check. Oh, that's living off the government. That's no good. Well, you know, how would anybody like to live on what I live on, Social Security? Or any kind of disability? Well, how do you think they would feel if they had to live on that? They're walking around in their $1 million suits and their $50,000 cars, and they're walking around with all kinds of money. Are they really thinking of us? The little guy. What does it take people to remind the people a lesson in history? It was always the little guy who stood up and said no more. People that said, give me freedom, give me liberty, give me life, or give me death. People that wanted and stood up for values and things that they meant. Where's our backbone in this country anymore? It's gone. You know, people say, well, I'll do something. They don't do it. They're afraid of our government. Why should we ever have to feel afraid of our government when we are the government? We are the people. I wonder what Joe Biden's doing today. Where's the money for the fourth stimulus check? There's not. It's like we don't count. But we all voted for him. We voted for him to try to think that he was going to do right by Americans. Who got us the first stimulus check? Was it Donald Trump? Saying, let's put Americans first. Let's help America first. And we got big ass wars coming. Everybody wants to fight everybody. Why in the hell should everybody have to go die for somebody else's foreign bullshit country? Over their oil. Over their resources. Why can't we just take care of our own? How many people have died because of that? They say 58,000 in Vietnam, but it's way more than that. Because they forget about the POWs, the MIAs. How easy people just seem like, oh, I just forgotten about all that shit. Nobody ever wants to go to war. You know, there's an old saying. Nobody wants to die, but everybody wants to go to heaven. If I die tomorrow, at least I want to die for something I believe in. William Wallace said he wanted freedom for his people. William Wallace of Scotland. And when you think about all the people who have died for freedom for what they believed in, what it stood for. They gave everything that they have. For what? For ungrateful people? But then again, I got to think that there are veterans out there that says, I'm a veteran, I deserve it all. No. Because you're just people like we are. Except you've just given a little bit more. Your country, unless you've been in a forward area or been in a combat zone. Why in the hell should you have to even say that you just think you deserve more? There should always be more for the people that are righteous and good people. But every day I wake up and I don't think America's got long before civil unrest, before people finally snap and the cord finally snaps or the dollar runs out, or something bad happens and everybody wants to blame everybody. It was Russia's fault. It was Ukraine's fault. It was China's fault. You know, let's go die for all these Taiwanese people. Let's go die for the people in Ukraine. And what did we get for it as Americans? Just to thank you and on your way, and all the people that died and gave their life for what? For nothing. I'd much rather have my life count for something more than that. And everybody in this country says, rescue missions, rescue missions. You know, we could end all the homelessness in this country just by building real small little homeless shacks. And have small little homeless towns where you go in, you get a little homeless shack, you get to stay there as long as you need to, until you can find a place to rent or you can find a way to help yourself. But everybody says, oh, they'll take advantage of that. That isn't right. Well, what do you think they're doing right now to every homeless person in the homeless shelters? To them, you're just a name. You're just a money ticket. Unless the homeless shelter is held accountable, I don't have to do nothing. That's a bunch of bullshit. Some places they've turned homelessness into an art. Literally, I'm homeless. Give me money. Let me beg on the corner in the street. I think that, you know what? All those people begging, if they could go get a job, they wouldn't have to be out there in the streets begging. But when you're disabled, and you're told when you're disabled that you're not allowed to work, you're not allowed to do anything because you're disabled. What's this country really all about? What is it all about to everybody in this country? Every day I wake up and I wonder if I'm going to be here tomorrow, and I just have a hard enough fighting time just to worry about if I'm going to be able to take care of myself. I love my family. I love my country. But I don't like politicians, and I don't like the police in our country. Everybody says, oh, the police are so honest. They're corrupt. They need body cams. They need retraining and sensitivity training. Most of all is when people are doing bad things and they're bad people. They grab a hold of them, they got to choke them out and grab them up here until they can't breathe. I've already had George Floyd. People have already got pissed off about that. Their rights, their rights. What about all American rights? You know, is a black man's life any more important than my life? Slavery's been dead and gone for thousands of years, and everybody's slavery, and it still kind of goes on with all people in this country. Always somebody trying to look to get over on somebody else. And it's sad. It's always somebody else wanting to do something that nobody else will do, so they want to prove that I got to prove something to myself. Whatever happened to good paying jobs up here in this country? Where people could, live. You got people putting rent at thousands and thousands of dollars? Because they got a piece of property. I guess they can charge whatever the hell they want. A lot of people won't rent it. Set vacant for a lot of years. You get a Section 8 voucher. You know what they told me when I got a Section 8 voucher? Sorry, Mr. Aker, it's not enough. A lot of people don't want to rent a place for $950 or $675 a month. I couldn't even find any help. These politicians play with people's games and their lives, and they say, oh, it's okay. Until the people start to fight back and say, no, it's not okay. It's when people of like minds come together, we can change this shit. But you've got to be willing to take the chances and become of like minds and understand what it's really all about. There's two sides of the Second Amendment. There's two sides to everything. But at least we should have a halfway point for everyone. Education, not ban. Education with everything. Think about it. If you had to be educated, then you wouldn't talk ignorant about firearms. A lot of people said ban the automobile when it come out, but once now people are educated, it's not so bad, is it? But do people really want education? Do they really want to learn? That's the biggest and baddest thing in the whole world. Can we learn? And everybody's looking around on YouTube saying, well, what's the truth? What's the truth? What's really going on? What's really going on is that people are going to die by the thousands. Because you can hear it the way Putin's putting it. Hey, I'm going to nuke Ukraine. He has to do it. He wants to do it. He got up in front of all the people all across the country and the world, and you could hear him say he's going to do it. And they're saying, don't do that. Don't kill all them innocent people. Wait a minute here. That was part of old Russia. That was an agreement that they made with Russia to become their own independent country. Now they're going to fight for it, and they want us to fight for them? What's in it for America? How many people are going to die over something stupid? Guarantee somebody presses a nuke tomorrow. Everybody at service. Everybody at service. I don't want to die or go over and get my head blown off in some foreign country just because somebody wants to be a dumbass. How sad is that? I also don't like the way that mentally ill people are treated, but when you're mentally ill and you're not being checked on, that's bad. Some of the checks and balances should be, hey, you're mentally ill, you get assigned somebody that comes and checks on you every 2 or 3 years, and you got to sit down with a mental health expert. Not just evaluate it, but just see what's going on with your life. See what they can do to help you. And find out, you know, what have you been doing since you're mentally ill. It all takes education. All of it. We learn to live and we live to learn. But when people are not learning anymore, people are not wanting to live anymore, learn to live. And what does that mean? It means that you got to learn something new every day. You got to want to make yourself grow as a person every day and be a good person. The older I get, the more I realize things are going to go by me. I'm almost 50 now. Back in my generation, we all wanted to be cowboys, or we all wanted to be mountain men, or we all wanted to do different things. But now technology says, oh, we can do all that and then some. Really? You can't do it if you've never experienced it firsthand. Sometimes you can't experience something by watching it. You got to experience it by doing it. You see the movie Yellowstone, you see them guys on them cutting horses, they do that their whole lives. See the people out there being real cowboys. A real cowboy is somebody that gets up and he doesn't just rodeo. He doesn't just ride a horse. He doesn't just, tend cows all day. He does it day in and day out. It's part of his life. There's so many things that are part of people's lives that they don't even realize. But we're sad. I'm so tired of judgmental people in this country. He did this, he did that. And it seems all you got to do a little bit is whine and complain and you get ahead. Whatever happened to the idea of work? Be honest and leave people alone and do your own thing. Every night when you see a Tonight Show, they're always making fun of people. They made fun of Donald Trump for years because he thought, well, what a dumbass, and how stupid Donald Trump was. But he wasn't stupid at all. If they'd have made fun of Obama like that, it'd been a whole, oh my God, you're a racist, so you're bad. We need to change the country. Donald Trump said that he won. But it was kind of strange out throughout the country. All of a sudden, all the boards went black. All the voters' rights things didn't turn out. Everybody says, oh, it wasn't this way and it wasn't that way. Nobody knows what the hell the truth really was. If Donald Trump was smart, he'd have said, let's just go ahead and pardon everybody at the Capitol. People have a right to be pissed off and say, this is my country. If he would have been smart, he'd have said, this is my country, and, these people are here because it's top of tyranny. And what causes tyranny? You know what I think causes tyranny? People losing their rights. People losing their rights to live their lives in peace. Because if you can't live in peace, what do you have? You have chaos. You have people giving up their rights. In this country, we have the right to the Fourth Amendment, so I thought. The right to be secure in your places, persons, and things with an oath of office there, with a search warrant thereof. They pull you over anymore now. Oh, you did something wrong? Oh, we're going to search. Oh, we don't consent to any searches, and they got to go get the search warrant. When they can't find that, they should be held accountable. The police should make sure that somebody actually did a crime before they went and fucked with them. And really look at what they're doing. There's bad people everywhere. And then you know what? The police, where are they? Where are the police when all these stores are being robbed? $500 million from these businesses, and they're saying we got to shut down our Sam's Clubs, or we got to shut this down, or we got to shut that down. Where are the police? The people hired to go up and hey, you steal something, you go to jail. But they let them out like, well, it's just a little misdemeanor, just blah, blah, blah. We need to change the laws. You do that, some shit over there in China, some foreign country, they don't tolerate that. Steal one time. Next time we catch you, we just kill you. One time. And that way everybody stopped doing it. Because up over here, it's okay to steal. Is it really cruel and unusual punishment to put people in prison and make them earn their freedom? Think about it. If you had to do 5 years and that was a life sentence, but you had to work every single day, like an animal, be treated that way, because you went and did something stupid and did a crime to somebody else. I say you go to prison once, and it's for a felony. You go to prison twice, we execute you. That's how we're going to stop people if it's a murder or a murder trial or something like that. Only for murder. So let's say you rob somebody and for however much at gunpoint, and that's a felony. And so we lock you up and we let you back out. And let's say, a couple months later, get desperate and you rob somebody again. Is this all these people ever going to know? Or do we really need to educate these people on the inside? And how do you do that? By consequences, hey. And what should the consequences be? Drill sergeants? People working like a dog for their freedom? Praying for the France just to get the hell away from it. So they never want to do this again. And if you're a sex offender, guess what? We execute you. Or we take your family jewels. And we tell you, we're not going to monitor you, we're not going to watch you, we're just going to execute you. Because for the rest of their lives, don't you think that the children are innocent? For so long? So sad. I mean, a child suffers with that for the rest of their lives when they touch children. Pedophiles and rapists, and we got all kinds of characters over here in our country. But are they really ever held truly accountable? You wouldn't do that shit anywhere else in the world. I guarantee you, let somebody rape or kill somebody else somewhere else. See what happens. Do that shit in France. They pull out the guillotine right now and they'll say, you know what? You're going to die. They did it to World War II Nazis who raped and killed women. Pulled out the fucking guillotine and said, right now. Why do people think that that's okay to do it now and it wasn't okay to do it then? It's not okay. And a lot of people live through a lot of things, and I'm almost 50 years old, and I'm ashamed. Because we can't get people of like minds to get this shit stopped. And mental illness is rampant in this country. And you know why it's rampant? It's because we're not putting forth an effort like we should have. Because we're having so many homeless people. We're homeless people. What's wrong with making small little encampments for homeless people? Get them a place to stay that's their own. Get them away from the homeless shelter. Give them a chance to have them somewhat of a little bit of a normal life and tell them to get out here and go find yourself a place to live. What is wrong with that? Everybody says, well, they're druggies, there's this, there's that. Well, they did something about it up in Jersey. They opened up a great big freaking facility. Said, hey, you're homeless, you got caught dealing drugs twice. We're going to put you into a facility. And they get them treatment and help. 6 months later, they're back working, or they're back off the drugs, they're back off doing something else in their life. So they might have something going on that's right. And what about the people that don't do anything wrong? Everybody's judged. Instead of sit down and talk to people. You can go anywhere in America and you're going to see somebody judge another person. If you're homeless, you're really judged. That guy's homeless. Even though he might have $600 or $700 or $800 in his pocket, he could be homeless. We need to change the country. And everybody says, well, if you don't vote, then you ain't doing nothing. Well, that's true. But when we don't feel our votes count, and that we don't feel as we count as Americans, then we have a problem. Don't subscribe to. Don't say I want to subscribe to my channel or anybody else's channel. Make up your own mind. But we need change in our country. How do we do that? Start educating the people about what's right and what's wrong, and what's real and what's not. You know what I hate about old westerns and TV shows? Bang, 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 bang. They shoot something 15 times. Didn't hit anything. Nobody dies. Everybody thinks, nowadays, everybody thinks it's just like a TV show. It's not. Unless you've ever seen it in your life, you'd say, holy shit. Real veterans have seen it in combat. People on the streets that have lived in some of the bigger cities have seen it, and they said it's not a game. You can't never take nothing back once you do it forever. We can't bring back the people that we love, but we can damn sure make sure that nobody else does that to anybody else. By tightening up the laws on things like if you're mentally ill, we catch you with the firearm, or if somebody knows that you have firearms, should be a year evaluation in a mental institution. It should be maybe a year or two in prison. First time around. We have to do what's right somewhere and draw a line. Not that we're taking anybody's rights. I don't want nobody's rights taken. But I don't want nobody else to die from something stupid. If somebody's got an opinion that's better than mine, education and not banned, please tell me. If the president or anybody else wants to listen, why don't they do what's right? Shouldn't we be putting Americans first? And shouldn't we be, if we're such high inflation and we can't even afford to go down and get a loaf of bread, shouldn't the American people be getting a stimulus check to help out with their grocery bill a little bit? Help them out just a little bit when they're going through tough times, especially older people. Even younger people. When you live on disability, we should be getting way more in disability. You know what the average disability I think should have been a month? At least $1,100 a month for everybody. And everybody gets paid the same on disability. I don't know what to say anymore about that. But hey, thank you so much for today. Thank you for listening to my podcast, and thank you for listening to me on YouTube. Why don't you think about what I'm saying, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you again. Thank you very much. I'm off. Have a good night.